Hey, thanks a lot, Kyle. Excited to be here. Been really looking forward to the start of the season. We've had a great off season. Really proud of the work our returning players put in the spring. I thought that carried over into the summer and fall as we added our newcomers, and excited about the opportunities ahead for our program.
All right, well, we're going to queue up some questions here. Again, if you have a question, let me know down in the chat. I'll call on you. Harry from Valley Hoops Insider, you're up first.
Hey, Matt, good afternoon. How are you?
Harry, doing great. Good to see you.
Good to see you. We talked recently, so I won't monopolize your time too much today. Two questions. The NIL thing, any kind of bearing at all on your team or players able to, get a Porsche like the Kentucky basketball player that was just announced, but maybe less than that? Any of your guys cashing in any way?
I don't think to this point, nothing major, but I think at a place like Murray State where basketball is so important, there's such a passion and enthusiasm for our program here. I certainly think there'll be great opportunities ahead in the future for our players with the NIL.
With the transition, a couple of teams leaving the league and several new coaches, I tried to do the math. I think you're the dean of the coaches now in the OVC. How weird is that?
Yeah, that's very weird. But I've been blessed, Harry, to be here now over a decade. Hard to believe. Just such a special place. But it's a time of transition for the league. But we're looking forward to our team this season. We really have a talented group, Harry, with Tevin and KJ, two guys who've been first team all league the last two seasons. Back should be guys who are 4-year starters in our program. Mentioned the improvement our returning players have made. And then I think we added some great talent through the transfer portal, and looking forward to blending all of those pieces together into a cohesive team.
And how healthy are you guys? I mean, I know it's just been a couple of weeks, but everybody still healthy? And how is Claude? I know you're trying to just be careful with him.
Claude, you're from Morehead State?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I threw that out there wrong. My bad. You do want to be careful.
I mean, Claude was a great player 2 years ago, and it'll be great for the league to have him back this season at Morehead, building on the terrific season they had a year ago. But for us, I think probably like most teams, as we've gone through the preseason here, some guys banged up. Practice has been really competitive. It's been physical, but nothing serious. I think we're just at a point where our guys have been battling against each other since about June the 1st. So I think they're very excited to go against some outside competition and see some different faces from an opponent standpoint.
And then finally, with the bringing in of so many of those transfers, that getting to know each other process, and maybe even those players wanting to really prove themselves to their teammates early on, has the competition level been maybe higher than normal because the roles weren't so set in stone ahead of time?
Hey, we had a lot of fun this summer, Harry, I think, from the competition on the court, but also just getting back to building our team, all the different events we like to participate in off the court, the team building exercises, the team meals over at the house, going out on beautiful Kentucky Lake, all those type things. Getting to do that again this summer, I think, was really important as we try to build the chemistry in our locker room.
Appreciate the time. Good luck this year.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Go to Adam Wells next.
Coach, you talked about how your team's ready to face other competition after being in practice with each other. You got that scrimmage coming up. What do you want to get out of that scrimmage in this first setting where you're not going up against yourself?
Oh, the only thing I care about, Adam, is that we play extremely hard with relentless effort, that we play with great unselfishness, and there's good energy on the bench. That's really all I'm looking forward to seeing. There'll be plenty of mistakes and things that we can work on. But those first couple of things I mentioned are things that we can control. And I want to see those things done at a high level.
One thing that was missing last year was the crowds, the normal crowds at the CFSB Center. I know that's such a home court advantage for you guys. Getting that back this year, how important is that? And how excited are the players to kind of play in those atmospheres again?
Oh, I think everyone's excited. I think the fan base is excited. I think Murray, Kentucky's excited, players, coaches, to get back to that passion, the energy, the electricity that we have here. There's a reason this is one of the top 12 home courts in all of college basketball when you look at the winning percentages. And I'm really excited as a college basketball fan just to see that atmosphere back this season.
We talked to a couple of players a couple of days ago, and we asked them to kind of break down some of the new guys that are coming in that we really haven't seen yet. One of the guys they seemed to point out a lot was Carter Collins. What can you tell us about what he has brought already and what he has shown to you on the court in practices?
Well, he's a winner. He's a guy who's proven he can do it at the highest level. Been a double-figure scorer the last 2 years in the Atlantic 10. Has had 20-plus point games against Power 5 schools. But he brings experience. He brings an ability to score the basketball. He's a 39% from three guy. He's been someone who's been top 5 in the A10 and free throw shooting and assist to turnover ratio. So my expectations are really high for Carter this season. He's gotten off to a great start, and I'm looking forward to seeing him do it, when the lights come on here in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Adam.
We'll go to John Wright next with a couple questions.
Hey, Matt, it's John from the Murray Ledger and Times. I know with the transfers, we got a lot of talent coming in, but is there still difficulty in trying to build on-court chemistry with these guys?
I think that's a challenge every year in college basketball for every team. And I think that team chemistry is so important. You can have all the talent in the world if everyone's not committed and in alignment. It's really hard to max out as a team. So that's something that we try to spend a lot of time on and be very intentional about. The standard is the standard. I think it's going to be really important that our players buy in to what we're trying to accomplish together as a group. And usually those things kind of work themselves out. And I think they will. I mean, everyone can't play 30 minutes a game. Everyone can't average double figures. So there's certainly some sacrifice that people have to make if you want to be a part of a winning team. But I like the direction we're headed right now.
Also, earlier y'all were talking about, the CFSB Center is going to have fans in it again, and that's going to be a big deal. Is there any way to measure how bad y'all missed that? Because y'all are, as far as the OVC goes, you're a blue blood program. We saw blue blood programs last year in college basketball struggle, especially at home, including, of all teams, Kentucky. It seemed like they really missed having their fans there. How bad did that affect you guys?
I don't know, John. I mean, it was a crazy year. I think some teams handled it really well. Some did not. And, wasn't a great experience for us. Certainly plenty of disappointing experiences for us a year ago. But I really haven't put a whole lot of time into that. We've moved forward. I'm so excited about our team. This group's working extremely hard to build a championship contender type team. And that's where we're going to put our energy toward.
Got Neil Bradley next.
Hey, Coach, Tevin Brown does it all, of course, for the Racers. Will your added depth take some of the load off of what he does? And also, second part of that, what has he done to improve his game this year?
Hey, Neil, always great to speak with a Hall of Famer. I think for Tevin, going into his 5th year in the program, he's had such a great career. And what I hope is that we've added some experience, some talent, and some versatility on the perimeter, to where he doesn't always have to be the primary option on every offensive possession. He doesn't always have to guard the other team's best offensive player. And so I hope that'll open him up to get even some higher quality shots. As we all know, he's got an opportunity to be the all-time leading three-point shooter, not only in Murray State history, but OVC history. And I think some of the other players we've been able to add, along with the growth and development of some of our returners, will hopefully alleviate some of that pressure on him. I think for Tevin, as far as improvements from a year ago, just continuing, with his ability not only to shoot the ball from three, but his game off the dribble. He does so many things well. I think when you look at his rebounding and you look at his ability to create shots for other people, over 4 assists a game. I mentioned his defensive effort. Just continue to be more and more consistent and have a great season for us.
Coach, I have one also on KJ Williams. KJ really improving in many areas last year, plus his outside shot. I know he wants to improve his free throw shooting more, even though it was up a tick. Is that something he's worked hard on in the offseason?
I think so. I think he's done a nice job with Coach Puckett in the weight room. He's a guy who got here as a freshman, about 6'9", 215 pounds or so. He's now 6'10" and right around 250 pounds, and he's moving very well. And I think the versatility is something that's going to be very important for him. We need him to be a dominant presence in the paint. You touched on his ability to step out and shoot the three. But one area, not only for KJ, but our team in general, that's a big emphasis for us, is we have to get back to living at the free throw line. And you have to be a tough team. You have to have a great paint presence. You have to be strong on the glass to be able to do that. And so we need to get to the free throw line more and convert at a higher percentage for sure.
We'll go back to John with another question. And if anybody else has some, we got 4 or 5 more minutes to coach.
Matt, we've heard a lot about your outside folks, and I know KJ's an inside guy, but can you talk about some of your other inside guys this year?
Yeah, thanks, John. We've added some older players to our front court. When you look at it, we also returned Nick McMahon, who's had a great offseason. So worked extremely hard, now 6'8", about 240 pounds. Excited about the power and physicality he'll bring to our front court. DJ Burns is a transfer from Southern. I think he'll remind a lot of our fans of Anthony Smith from a couple years ago. Just a really hard playing guy who has a great impact on winning. A lot of multiple effort plays, really good on the offensive glass, high energy player. I think Jordan Skipper Brown is a talent, as good an athlete as we've had in our time here in the front court at 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan and physical and ability to play above the rim. I think we'll add a lot to our front court. Then we also added Elijah Farr, who was second team junior college All-American last year at Olney Central. A little bit different from the other guys. He's a pick and pop guy who can shoot the three. And I think that's important in today's college basketball game.
Adam Wells has a follow. Go ahead, Adam.
You kind of just spoke about him a second ago, Matt, as far as Skipper Brown. You guys obviously very familiar with him over the last couple of years. What has it been like getting him on the court, playing for you guys instead of having to prepare against him because he had so much success against Murray State over the last couple of years?
Well, I think for us, we just had such a need in our front court to add some experience, some athleticism, and some physicality. And he brings all of those to the table. I think like all players, we're trying to get more and more consistent. But the things that he brings to the table, a lot of them are skills or traits that I can't teach Adam. I mean, he's a guy on the vertical jump test. He touched the top of the machine. I mean, we had to end the test right there. He's a guy who has great ability. Now this is where it falls on the coaching staff. And we've added 2 guys in Jordan and Carter who only have less than a year with us. And so we have to fast track their ability to learn terminology, offensive, defensive systems, get to know their teammates, build their chemistry in the locker room. And so that's where we're trying to spend a lot of our time right now.
Anybody else? Questions for Coach? Okay, last one before we transition to Tevin. You mentioned Tevin, the 3-point records that he may break this year. Just can you talk about, maybe, I don't know if people realize what he's accomplished with some of those numbers. And I'm sure the other coaches think he's been around for about 10 years. He's been so good, but just what his lasting impact on Murray State and the OVC, just because he's been consistent every year he's been here.
Well, first and foremost with Tevin, he's a relentless competitor. He's really tough. You know what you're going to get every night from Tevin. He's a winner. I think the lasting legacy of his time here is he's been a part of 3 championship teams. And I know he'd love to be a part of adding a 4th one here to Murray State. But then when you go through and look at the numbers, he's always had this great reputation, and deservedly so, for his 3-point shooting. But you're also talking about a guy who, if he continues at the same production level he has the last couple of years, could finish top 10 in scoring at Murray State, could finish top 20 in rebounding. You know, it was over 5 rebounds a game last year. Could finish top 5 in assists at a place that's had some of the best point guards in college basketball history. Could finish top 5 in assists here. And then defensively, we ask a lot of him. He guards the other team's best player on most nights. Could finish top 5 in steals. So there's so many things he does well, and he's just so much more than this elite 3-point shooter. But, you know, it's really important to me. Selfishly, I think we all want to win. Every team on media days wants to win the league. But I want to see a guy who's been a part of a lot of wins here, a lot of championships, go out and have a monster season this year.